Hello everyone, welcome back. So, I think you know where you are. I'm Denise. I have your astrological transits, our cosmic happenings for the week. And of course, we're going from January 15th to the 23rd, or I'm sorry, 21st, as you can see, 2023. But the cool thing is so last week on Friday the 13th, we had this finger of fate, finger of God. And I was looking at it going, I think it's going to last a little while. And yes, it does last all the way through this coming week and then up to the 24th. So, wow. I'm going to talk a lot about that, or enough about it. So anyway, we also have Mercury going direct. Mars went direct last week. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. Anyway, Mercury's going direct this week while the Sun is joined with Pluto at the same time. That's quite an event. And the Sun's moving into Aquarius, and we also have the new moon in Aquarius coming up. So anyway, I can't wait to swap out cameras here and get this going for you. Okay, hold on. Be right back. Okay, so first off, I want to say, before I dive into this finger of God, it's a yod aspect that's lasting all week, is that I forgot to say last week that Mars went direct on the 12th. Sorry. But that is a good example of what Mars can do, is it can just make you go so darn fast you miss things. And especially in Gemini, that is exactly what happened to me. So anyway, and I didn't run a separate chart for that, but it's okay. We can look at it now. It's still at 8 degrees. When it went direct, it was still at 8 degrees. It's stationed direct. But this week, and at the beginning of last week too, I think it was from Friday on, and it's going to last until the 24th. This aspect here. This is amazing. I feel like this is such a huge week, you guys. I really do. It feels like the week to, continue on making your plans, clear out any old false beliefs that are holding you back, tap into your healthy boundaries, and, just keep going forward with whatever it is that you need. Stop when you need to take breaks. Mars in Gemini, direct or retrograde. I mean, retrograde is always our time to renew, review, do whatever. Anything with a in the middle of it. Reevaluate, relearn something on a deeper level. But even though it's direct, it's going to, have to go through all the degrees of Gemini. And this still feeds a lot of information. We're talking news. There's going to be so much coming out in the news. Has been already. And with Mars down here at this apex, and again, it's lasting throughout, I think it's all the way through, to the 24th. And this in conjunct here, quincunx, same thing, 150-degree angle here and here. These two lines indicate the need for adjustment. So what we do is we look for what do we need to adjust to, or from, to and from, right? We're coming from our past with the South Node in Scorpio. Remember, Scorpio wants to go deeper. It wants to transform on the highest levels. On the lower levels, it wants revenge. It wants to bite. It wants basically all the things that the new GOP is doing. House, but don't worry, they're not going to be able to get anything done except for spin their wheels and probably piss a lot of people off, because we hold, us Democrats hold the Senate. Nothing's going to get past them. And if anything does make it through, Biden is already... like abolishing Social Security and things like that. Biden has already said that he will veto anything that comes across his desk that is not for the people. So hold on to that. Hold on to your faith, especially with Jupiter and Aries here. Hold on to your faith firmly. Try not to panic. Try not to worry. And, we have good reason to worry from the past, of course, but it's a whole new ballgame going on right now. I do feel like what we're witnessing politically is going to be like the last gasp, right? Of because that is how it works with darkness. And now I'm going to speak a little bit to Pluto in any sign, but especially in Capricorn, because we're talking people with power and the constant need for power in order to feel like they're somebody. So anyway, when Pluto moves through a sign, it starts purging. So from 2008, Pluto's been purging. It's been bringing things to light that were previously buried. It doesn't mean that they weren't there. It's just like when the United States began its, experiment in 1776 for a free, fair and equal opportunity for the people that wanted to join. That was just the beginning, right? That was really just the beginning, and that doesn't mean that we were in any position to say, oh, we're better than anyone else because we're free. No, we still had legal slavery. We still had to go through the Civil War. And we lost Abraham Lincoln over, throughout all of that too. Or after that. Just imagine all the fight that he went through and how he held firmly to the faith of justice and fairness and equality. So I feel like on a deeper level that there are a lot of reincarnated slave masters roaming the political, chambers, if you will. And it feels like it's the end of this, rearing their ugly head. Now that doesn't mean that things will be perfect when Pluto hits its first little, venture into Aquarius in March. But because it won't stay there, it'll retrograde back. But so we're going to be going through this for some time until 2024. But this next year, and beyond is just so important. But back to this last gasp of darkness, rearing its ugly head. That is a spiritual principle, and the way it works is you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the core, like the root of the darkness, of the root of the false belief. So with them, it's like not enough. Because greed, the false, or the need for greed, comes from a false belief that there's not enough. I have to take all of this because I won't have enough. There is no. It's the false belief in finite resources. And I understand that because on Earth, just imagine all the people who, there was the potato famine. I mean, my goodness, they have good reason when I say head, like when I say reason, I mean like head, things in their brain, but they don't have good reason in their souls or their spirits to do. Well, then again, the soul, goes through everything that the body goes through, so there's that. But our spirits are trying to teach us that we can create anew. Now, that doesn't mean that we're supposed to be wasteful. What I'm saying does not mean that we're supposed to ignore the sustainability that we need to get in alignment with in order to protect the earth. So like just think about a kid, living with your parents. It's like every kid wants their parents to be safe and happy. Otherwise, they know they won't be. So if we start treating Gaia the same way, we're all going to be fine. But they're not. They're putting profits over people. And that is the darkness that, we have to keep circling around and shining a light. It's like, oh, there's one there, oops, there's that there. We have to keep pulling out these roots of, these weeds. And hopefully do it in a respectful way that doesn't hurt anybody. Although sitting in prison, contemplating what you've done wrong is probably a good thing for some people to go through. There's healing in that, right? So, okay, I will get off my soapbox about that, but that's the pattern that I see that we're working through. So Mars is kicking up the news cycles. It's showing what happened in the past. The Scorpio moon headed towards, the South Node is going to illuminate even more of that. And it's our task to hold space for the transformation without going into pessimism, without going into, oh no, right? We really need to hold on to our faith in justice. Now, of course, I understand why a lot of people would not have that. Here's my little bit of soapbox again. Wouldn't have faith in the Justice Department because we had Bill Barr in there for 4 years. That just, he was like, let's just put this, our big giant block, not crystals, but a big rock, in the middle of everything. Nobody's getting past me, basically. And he kept saying he was upholding the law. No, he wasn't. He was just another hoe bag. So, or still is. He can write as many books as he wants and talk about all kinds of things that he wants, and I don't care. He's still, he's one of the dark souls that need to clear out. So, there's that. That has been the case. So the adjustment to move forward, we need to learn new things. Everyone needs to learn new things. Some of us will be learning new things about the darkness that happened in the past, and the moon will be shining light on that. And then we also need to make adjustments by learning more things. Because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. But just remember here, with this adjustment, this is like more news about the darkness, and more news about the darkness. So it's like a repetitive pattern going from here to here. And with our sextile, remember, a sextile is that aspect creates opportunity. So again, more opportunity for the past to shine the light on the past. The moon is moving towards the south node, revealing the, I would say the vengefulness of some of the GOP in the past, and we'll see it. We've been seeing it over the last few days since McCarthy got himself finally, after going through how many Groundhog Days? 15 tries it took him to get in, and it wasn't even clean. And now the GOP just holds what they can. I mean, they're only 5 seats ahead, so who knows what can happen in the next several months when some of their party members are taken out because of the DOJ. I give it through to this, at least the summer. I don't expect anything to come through quickly with the DOJ. I feel like we would love that, but it might take through the summer. So we need to be patient. That's what Uranus and Taurus is all about, right? So don't forget about that. And then to notice also how the sun is clocking ever so tightly towards, over the next few days, we're going to have this conjunction of, by the time Mercury goes direct, we're also going to have the sun conjunct Pluto. And I have that chart to show you again that we looked at a little bit before. So that is the main deal there, is to not forget that this finger of fate, finger of God, whatever you want to call it, is geared towards bringing out the news, learning things from the past, and then moving forward in a cleaner way. And, it doesn't even, to me, it doesn't even really matter what other people are doing. It only matters to me what I'm doing and what I will stand up for, because I know I'm going to die someday anyway. So that doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and pick fights with anyone. Of course not. But I'm not going to bow down and not vote for the people that I believe in. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to roll over like that. That's the thing. For money, that's what these people have done. They've rolled over for money. So, and that is part of this polarity here with the nodes. So this nodal axis in Taurus to Scorpio is all about money scandals, sex scandals, power dynamics, right? Things being revealed with Uranus here. I mean, partly this would be Prince Harry and his book coming out. You know, him revealing that he was just a spare child, you know, a spare heir, and talking about. And I have not bought his book and read it, but I did watch the Netflix series, I should say, and I watched him on Stephen Colbert, and it reminded me the whole time he was talking about everything he went through for his entire life, but he feels like he was pretty blocked out from his childhood experience, you know, up to through about, well, he says he can't remember anything before 12. So he's been in therapy, he's still working, he's trying to heal. And he said that the more healing that he did, and you guys can watch this, it's on, if you go to the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, there's an on YouTube, on his YouTube channel, there's an extended version of his process, you know, without the commercials and without the cuts, the cutaways. I think it's about 38 minutes long, if I remember. I watched it last night. So anyway, that was a deeper dive into, you know, while I was watching it, I kept thinking, oh, the nodal axis here, you know, control, and then, but what about me? You know, control with, and what it was all about was the British press, the British, what he called it, the royal rota, how everything went through the, you know, the crown, the monarchy, and he, you know, they called it I think somebody called it the firm at one point, but anyway, he got out because he wasn't safe, and his wife wasn't safe, and his children were, or his, you know, first son, Archie, they weren't safe because they weren't given protection. And basically, you know, it was all set up in the beginning because they just didn't like Meghan. So whether or not, you know, you care about her or like her or not, or him or not, none of that matters to me. That, you know, we all have our own individual preferences, and I don't have an opinion either way. But I was tuned into this, you know, North Node and Taurus, and especially with Uranus, that needs safety. And here he was with Uranus. Now, I don't know anything about his chart. I didn't even try to look it up. But Uranus brings in the awareness that you need safety. You have to have an awareness that you're not safe first before you can create safety. And then with the South Node in Scorpio, you're always reflecting back to the past and going, oh, I remember going through that. I remember, oh, I actually wasn't safe, you know. And you have those awarenesses a lot of times through the reflection of the moon, because the moon is always about the past, and it's always about people and family and roots and your emotional body, most of all. So with that, you know, imagine growing up in a situation where you really weren't ever safe, and you were just supposed to do what everybody told you to do. Or, I mean, safe to a certain degree, but his mother wasn't safe, and especially after she, divorced Charles. Then it's like they fed her to the wolves. It wasn't just like they threw her to the wolves. His experience was he knew what she went through because they were fed to the wolves. So there's that. But his story is very unique to him, but it's not unique at all to the experience of the monarchy and how it was designed so that they could have their position, but they also had to give a part of themselves away, which, they designed this whole thing through the press. Or they created this relationship with the press. And that got me to thinking about, and the reason I'm talking about this is because it's all here, The nodes have been, so remember the nodes go backwards. So the nodes previously were in Gemini and Sag, so we had lies versus the truth constantly going on. I think you remember those years when Trump was still in. And then it's when he was going through his journey of trying to figure out what was really going on. And then through watching the press, what the press was doing to him and his wife, and seeing what was also released through the, through all the parts of the, what did he call the name of it? I forget. You guys, if you watch, you'll connect the dots. But I'll stick with the astrology. The deal is that through the press, certain words were put out, but the words came from inside the monarchy, and that shouldn't happen. And we're talking the press as in, the Daily Mail. There's all these different, British tabloids, but then there's also the Guardian, which has their opinion pieces. And after watching everything that he said and feeling into it, because I have a really good bullshit meter, and after watching that, it's like I'll never read anything by the Guardian ever again. And this is what we're seeing here with Mars kicking up the, truth versus lies. Information's out there, so we have to look and see, is it true or is it lies? Well, so from the nodes going from Gemini and Sag, then they go backwards to, of course, we're in Taurus and remember, so we go from 29 down to 0. So when the nodes get from Taurus to Scorpio, next it's going to be Aries to Libra. So we're going from, this is the beauty of astrology, we're going from truth versus lies, information and facts or not, stories made up or not, and in Sag, that is one of the signs of like the royals, along with Jupiter. And what has happened has been the, seeing what the press is doing. And we're, in the United States, we've gone through it too. We could see what's been kicked up with Fox News, and what is true and what is not. And we're having to, and the cult, QAnon and all this like cult power, right? We're having to decipher what is true and then what is safe or not here. And what is put out there just as a feeding machine in order to make money, right? That's the problem with the news cycle. That's the problem every time you open up a web page and you get slammed with a bunch of pop-up boxes, and you can set your pop-up blockers to turn it off, but you still get something. You pretty much with every page you get a big, you're just always swatting away, right? It's like a ninja. But anyway, so when the nodes move to Aries and Taurus, Aries and Libra, so with this south node, the ruler here's an important piece. Let me do this. Pluto rules this south node, okay? Venus rules this north node. So you add that flavor. So the transformation of power on the past, okay, and then to the future, safety, security, what we value, Venus, what matters to us mostly, harmony, peace, bliss, right? And which, where's your choice? Which do you want? And he and, I guess it was more him than his wife, she was just going through hell and was at the, a suicidal point, and because she just couldn't cope with it anymore, with the power abuses, power dynamics, and he realized that he needed to protect her, and meanwhile she's pregnant, and there's all of that, right? And so what came out of it was his decision to go with safety first. He woke up, and that's a perfect example of Uranus in Taurus, waking up to self-preservation and going for what matters most to you. And that is, Venus rules Taurus, and it will rule the Libra South Node when we get there too. So things are going to get better. And again, like I was saying, this is the last gasp of the darkness. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be more darkness later on, because we're going to, that's just the way it is on Earth for now. I don't know how many eons of people living on Earth it will take to bring it all the way through to the light. But it's an equal opportunity planet. We just have to remember. So, okay, so let's get on with the transit. So the other aspect, so here's another one. So you can see the North Node there at 10 degrees, South Node there at 10 degrees, Mercury there at 8 degrees, and so we have a pretty near exact, and especially when Mercury goes direct, it'll be right on the money with the aspect of the architect here to the South Node, North Node, and Mercury. Okay, so again, Mercury's communication. About Capricorn, we're talking structures, foundations, things that matter, things that are in form, things that matter on Earth, matter, literal matter. Okay, so if this is wonderful for manifesting, the aspect of the architect brings you that structure and opportunity here, and then the flow of energy here to go in the direction that you want to go, what matters to you most. We have this all week long. So let's see, the Pluto to Eris has and will be in there for quite some time, so I'm just going to name it every week, but that's it. It's more about the courage, or it speaks to the courage to your own integrity, your own internal authority without giving yourself away. A lot of times we have to just take a pause for a moment and stop and feel into what someone's saying, and then remember, in a relationship you always want to remember, and the reason I'm speaking to this is with this North Node in Taurus ruled by Venus, we're in that realm of relationships and safety to the South Node, and then Mercury, what we're hearing, and Capricorn, what they actually do. When you're in relationships with people, you're always clocking, do they, and this is just life, do their actions match their words? Do they do what they say they're going to do? Or are they hypocritical? Or are they unconscious? Are they unconscious with their words? There's a certain level of verbal violence that can come through a person and not even know it, right? They don't realize what they're, saying. So we're clocking those things. Now you can see the square here. So remember, Venus again, relationships. Okay, squaring. Now this one's to Uranus. So there's that waking up. What are they saying? What are they doing? We're connecting more on a deeper, on a not necessarily deeper. The deeper comes from Scorpio, and Pluto. But we're connecting more we're connecting on a bigger level when Venus is in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius usually gets along well with anybody. They usually have a very open sense of connection. They don't mind, original new ideas. They don't like being treated unfairly, though, and they don't like being put in a box and pigeonholed. So there's that. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, even though it's a square here, a little bit of a tension field, there's a lot of strength because of this, here. this connection here that is like of like. And with Venus ruling Taurus, Venus here, Uranus ruling Aquarius here, it's a double party of thinking outside the box, getting really clear on what you want. We should have some, I don't know if it'll be a breakthrough, but some strength afterwards when we get through this, which it's been building, right? And we remember when like fusion energy was talked about, and although they only were able to make it happen once in this one experiment, but it's the beginning. It was a breakthrough with Uranus and Aquarius both rule science. So things should get better. If we could just get some type of a vaccine that everybody can take or would want to take that will cover all the strains and all the variants. I remember reading about that in the militarytimes.com, whatever, that they were working on it, and then all of a sudden you just don't see it anymore. So I don't know what happened there. But anyway, I'm hoping something will break through when Venus conjuncts with Saturn, because it's headed that way. You can see she's headed that way. Let's see. Saturn is in the sextile here to Eris. So Saturn, form, science, structures, science, original, new, unique ideas, breakthroughs. With Eris, it could be something that empowers women, especially when we get through this baloney here to the past, and remember the moon's going this way, and what do we have the GOP doing? Trying to take away even the ability to get birth control. Can you believe that? And spreading outright lies that there are abortions happening where the baby's delivered or the baby's taken out and still breathing and alive. There is no such thing as that. That is not happening. I mean, what? They don't do the mother would die even. They don't do abortions like that. Anyway, so there's that out there. But, they want to feed their base. They've got that. See, that's, again, that feeding the machine, right? That's the whole thing I was talking about in the beginning. Whether it was the machine of the monarchy in relationship with the press, or I should say the machine of the press the British press in relationship with the monarchy and what they had to do to, survive it, versus what's been going on in America and all over the world. I mean, look at what happened in Brazil with Bolsonaro. Like what? This is happening everywhere. The abuses of power that need to be healed. So, reminds me of that Jimi Hendrix quote. When the power of love reigns over, or something like that, over the power of, what was it, hate or money or something, then we'll all know peace. I can't remember. You know what? I might have it. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. A friend of mine gave it to me a long time ago. Here we go. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, that's what it is. The world will know peace. A friend of mine gave this a long time ago. Long time ago. That thing has been moved with me so many times. So, okay, back to astrology. Notice the sextile we have here to the sun. That's been building. That was, coming off from last week, too. So, and my members, you guys get this early. Well, everybody gets it early, but members get it ad-free and the day before. So, I'm doing this on Thursday, the Thursday prior. So, basically, with this sun here, we have the sextile opportunity to Neptune. Oops. So this could be Sunday morning, waking up with some really clear dreams that will help you manifest. Sun in Capricorn, manifest. Especially at this late mature degree of Capricorn, 25 degrees Capricorn, and happy birthday to anyone born today. You can say that hands down for every day. I always want to give birthday wishes. I'm so glad you're here on the planet with me. At the same time, we found each other. So with Neptune, of course, this is source. This is divine cosmic intelligence. This is compassion, empathy, sensitivity. And so there's an opportunity here to shine your light. It's also, especially in Pisces, we're dealing with the media, film. Neptune rules gas as well, though, too. We're in the realm of anything artistic and anything that the masses can connect with. So it's great for books, poetry, and and that's another thing too. I forgot. Hold on. I have some books here from our community members. If anyone's going through grief, Frida Ferrick has these books. They're very reasonably priced. She also has a Facebook page too. Okay, Returning Home, Stories of Hope. They're poems, very, very simple, beautiful poems. And she's a marriage and family therapist. And then Jeff Bailey in our community, he just released this book, Some Good Writ. and it's all very short poems that are really coming from his heart. So there's that. So anybody who's been very creative, and we know our community member here, Mimi, where's her card? She has a flower, here it is. Flower Tribe, Mimi Eichholz is her name. But on Facebook, she is Flower Tribe Creations. She has some beautiful art, and I have this one hanging in my bedroom that she sent me, and I love it. But anyway, she has a lot of new things she's putting out. So if you're interested in buying some art, those are a few people I know, through the written word or on the canvas in any way. Let's see. Jupiter is in that inconjunct for today, for Sunday, right here. This inconjunct to the moon. This is important. I think it's a good time to focus in on the moon today. So Jupiter wants to expand and grow and heal, and there's an adjustment to the moon in Scorpio that wants to go deep. So Jupiter in Aries is wanting to go fast, but the moon is pulling us back in and going, wait, I'm not ready. There's something I'm working with here. So give yourself that time today, of course, any day that you need that. And that is especially true because you can see that from the moon there, this 1 degree, which is in this double square to the sun and Pluto here, right? So we go deep, and then we have more power. We go deep and find our obstacles and our blocks, and then we have more manifestation power. And also, and I know, these are challenging aspects when we have squares, but that doesn't mean that they can't work out and be something strong. I mean, crap, you guys should see my chart. It's a big old grand square. It's like all red. I do have some blue, of course, too. But so Mercury here is, let's see, 8 to 3. Yeah, well, yeah, there's the square there from Mercury to Jupiter. But as it goes this way, and you can see it's happening already because that's only a 4-degree orb. We have a double square from Mercury to Jupiter and Chiron. So Mercury's bringing in information as to how to heal our deepest wounding and remember to belong to ourselves. When you have yourself, it doesn't matter if other people are accepting you or in your tribe. You know, you first have to break out and be the leader in your own tribe. And then from there, things work out. But it takes time. That's part of, going through the dark night of the soul. So the more we let go of needing to come first, needing to win, needing to be the boss, the need to not be left out, right? The more we heal our abandonment issues and belong to ourselves, the more our gifts come through. That's what Chiron's all about, is breaking through so that the wounding is clear and the gifts bubble up from underneath, with every bit of work you do. So hopefully there's some communication that comes through about that in dream time. And Mars is still, but I think I'll talk about it tomorrow, this one right here. Yeah, that's what I want to tune into. Mars is still in this, and I know this was here last week, from Eris. So Mars is courage, Eris is courage. But the feminine courage that says, I'm not taking it anymore, right? Well, that can be masculine too, either way. But we have the feminine and the masculine forms of courage here, and action is going to need to be taken in order, remember, to keep honoring this yod, this opportunity, all these adjustments that need to be made. So do a lot of listening to yourself, your thoughts. Get a handle on your background thoughts and track those. And if they're not positive, turn them around. Create a new mantra. If you catch yourself beating yourself up, stop. It's like put the brakes on. And then go back, and here with the moon having crossed over the south node, I think that there's some information, some illumination that came through. There's also, from Sunday to Monday, it could even be building, from today on, which is the 12th today. The ability to tap into some past life false beliefs that you want to heal. And we have that opportunity here. It's like you're gathering the facts. Oh, that's what I believed back then. Oh, that's what I took to my death with me. Whoa. And then you clock it, write it down, create a new mantra that is positive. You create reality. You create positive reality out of the darkness that you've had to go through. That's why Scorpio is like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And then from there, Mercury is connecting in this opportunity to, again, then manifest what you want from the positive new mantra that you've created. And the sun joining with Pluto over the week, even after it goes past Pluto, there's still, while it's in orb, this is our time to let the spotlight of the sun teach us where, our inner power, like who we really are and where we want to go, what we want to create, what stable foundation do we want to, lay down in our lives before we build the walls around it, and right. But it's just like when you build a house, you have to have all the grading and things have to be done right. All, the trenches have to be dug for the plumbing and underground wiring, and sewer lines, all that stuff has to be done. That's that deep Scorpio and Pluto, Platonic, deep inner work that has to be done before, you're out and it's like, oh, I'm here, oh, look, we have something that we can build upon. But, when you're breaking down the old false beliefs from the past, you're in a constant process for many, many, many years, where you're building, you're rebuilding, you're constantly rebuilding, and you get to be okay with that. You don't mind it at all. And then the older you get, at least my experience has been, you just start, you continually, like every full moon, I have some revelation that connects the dots in a new way. So So there's that. Okay, so but for today, let's just, because everything's the same that I spoke to for so long before in the beginning. And the aspect of the architect is there all week. This little sesquisquare to Neptune and Neptune in the south node. That can be kind of stubborn. This aspect here, I'm not going to bother to color it in because it's pretty weak. It's not as strong as the semi-square here, but what it does entail is this will be, I would think, what we will be witnessing by some people, and especially in the GOP, people that want to hold on to their delusions because they're afraid they won't get the money and the power. And, that's it. So with the moon squaring Venus, let's talk about this for the day. So the moon in Scorpio wants to go deep, but it wants to be safe. And it can be intensely focused on that. And with Venus in relationships, and Venus is up here in the T-square to Uranus. Shoot, was that there? Did I miss that? No, actually it's just building. Okay. Interesting. Okay, 16, 14, yeah. Oh, that's right, because it's the moon. Yeah. But it was there to Uranus. I missed that. I did miss that. Venus, square. Well, I colored it in, so I guess I did say something about it. Or I forgot and just colored it in. I don't know. So let's talk about it now. So Venus is up here in a T-square, up at the apex. So Venus is kind of, rocking the pivot here. And Venus talking to the moon. So the moon in Scorpio is saying, I want to go deeper. I want to transform this. I want to get out of crisis mode. I want to be with people who I can trust. I want intimacy, but, healthy intimacy. I want to go deep, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid of betrayal in relationship. How far out there are you, basically? This is a little convo going on here in relationship. And it's probably very silent, right? But basically, it's like I want to connect, but I'm not sure where you're coming from. And I need to know where you're coming from before I could move forward, right? Now, that's in personal relationships. Now, on the political level, this can be a lot of women saying, oh, hell no to this crap the GOP is putting out. And we were free before, and we're going to fight to be free again. Okay, so we're talking Roe v. Wade there. And basic, health care and HIPAA, confidentiality rights, things like that. So everything is the same. Jupiter squaring Mercury things are blowing up a little bit, or have been. So there's nothing new there, right? Sextile to Eris, Saturn. Well, okay. I know I spoke to it a little bit, but in the political sphere, here's another women in their courage and the government and trying to create new rules that just knocks them out, and we're fighting against that. And with Venus getting every inch tighter, every degree tighter to Saturn, that is on the table. Yeah. And remember that aspect of the architect all week long. So let's go to Tuesday. The moon's still in Scorpio, but it's gonna move out during the day into Sag. So let's focus in. Just know that everything I've said before still applies, and I'm just going to focus in on the moon. And so 27 degrees Scorpio here. You can see that we have that double sextile to the Sun and Pluto. So this is very powerful. There are powerful opportunities here to get what you want, dig your heels in, right? And connect with, this is empowering and tenacity and getting what you want. Let's see, anything else with the moon? Also, yeah, but that was building. I should have noticed the moon there over to Neptune. Again, things coming through dream time. I think that was happening a lot last week. You guys were telling me. Yeah, trust those dreams. There's also that double. It's not just Neptune. It's also Jupiter here to the moon. So that's a lot, actually. And this has been building all night long. So with the moon illuminating something on your path about your deeper needs is what I just heard. Getting in touch with your real needs, which are for connection, safety, pleasure, to be seen and heard and understood, and have your own creative self-expression, whatever that may be. It might just be with your friends, doesn't mean you have to, whatever it is. Or it could be very quiet and silent and creating works of art in your own home just for you. Or it could be the way you love your pets. That is a creative connection of pleasure on a daily level, daily basis. So, yeah, right. Healing in new ways, being more powerfully present with your spirit is what I'm getting there. That's the opportunity for Tuesday. Wednesday, Mercury stations direct. I talked about this. I went into it a little bit, so let's go into it strongly. So the important thing here is to look at that. The sun is absolutely conjunct right here with Pluto. Let's go green because it's more of an earthly color. This is powerful. The light is shining the way for you to shining. Actually, could be your personal power shining out from you, right? And then, but with Mercury squaring Jupiter here, and then also there's the square to Chiron. This is everything I was talking about before. That need to. It goes direct 5:12 a.m. Wednesday, so you might feel some relief, but it takes until February 7th before it's direct. But you might feel this need to stand up for yourself. That's what I just heard. Take a stance, speak up. You've gathered enough information and now you know something, whatever that something is. I think it might be time to speak up. And especially because the moon, let's look at that. The moon is up here in Sag, 11 degrees Sag. That's vocal. That is intuitive. It also is a sign that rules politics. And it's in an inconjunct here to the south node. North node. So, and as it moves forward, it's going to start clocking towards, we'll have this adjustment to Uranus as well. So this quincunx here creates the need for an adjustment because, you need to speak up in order to move forward. And that is going to continue on over the next couple of days, I think. Or no, just throughout today. Yeah, because it's the moon. Hold on, let's look. Let me look at Thursday. Yeah, it's just today. Today is a day, you guys. Today is a day to speak up. Mars is direct. You have the wisdom from the past with that transit of the moon going across the south node that lasted for, a good day. And then still with the moon in Scorpio, and now with it in Sag, it's time to move forward. Sag is movement oriented. I'm thinking there's going to be quite a bit of talking and listening and learning and relating. And that is further enhanced by this semi-square here for Mercury, and then this join up here. Is that the right way to say that? This meetup is the way to say it, with Venus and Saturn. There's the need to speak up in order to release that tension, because you know what you know now, and that's the direction you're going, and either they're with you or they're not, and you have the courage to just go for whatever it is. With Venus and Saturn, right? Building Saturn, Venus relationships. So this is building new relationships where you're thinking outside the box, and you have a new vision with Neptune and Pisces here in that semi-square, or I'm sorry, sesquisquare to the south node in Scorpio. So a lot of vision here that you're going to dig your heels into in order to get what you want. And then Mercury is in this double trine you can see up here, now that it's direct to the North Node and Uranus. So there's a nice flow of energy, of earthly energy to manifest and break free. And that's connected to this aspect of the architect, because again, there's that wisdom of the past, breaking free. So that is fantastic. So Wednesday the 18th, 5:12 a.m., or whenever you wake up, Mercury is direct, and you know what you want. And if you don't, you're going to start feeling you don't have what you want. And that's the way to also eventually get what you want. And with Venus still squaring Uranus, you're willing to do the work to make it happen. Yay! Awesome. Okay. Oh, hold on. Sorry. The moon is opposing Mars. Yeah. Again, it's the same thing. You're willing to fight for what you want. Have to be careful here. You might want to pick your battles. There's a lot of energy here, but even if all this is just internal, you know what you want at this point, is what I'm thinking. Is what I'm getting here. Okay. So, and then another important piece here is just to remember that until Mercury makes its way to 24 degrees, and you can see it's joining up with Pluto, we might still have some glitches that we're working out. I sure had it. I had it with some computer programs and YouTube messing up, and YouTube is still messing up. Every time they make a change, it makes things better eventually, but going through it is like, things aren't working right. You just have to wait, But yeah, computer programs, editing programs, converting programs, I had to do all kinds of stuff. all kinds of stuff this week. Last week and this week. But anyway, so the moon today on Thursday the 19th is in Sag. And we do have a couple stressful aspects this morning. The sun is crossed over Pluto. We still have that meet up there where we're talking about power. Venus and Saturn are still, in their powwow with what type of a relationship do we want to build and work with. But with the moon here at 26 degrees Sag, there's this semi-square to the south node of the past. So action is needed, I would think. And we also have this sesquisquare, semi-square here, which creates that need for action. And then we have a stubborn sesquisquare here to the north node. So this is an excellent day for using your intuition in whatever way, busting out your cards, sitting in meditation, moving around, go for a walk, get your energy going and see what comes. You know, that old adage, that old saying, angels talk to those who walk. If the weather permits, or however bold and courageous you want to be, as long as you're safe, just, get out there. Fresh air helps. And remember, this finger of God, this yod that's all week long, that's happening there for you. And the aspect of the architect to build what you want, as long as you're coming from your courageous wanting to break free and be safe. But then there's this third aspect here with this. So you can see the you can see the aspect of the architect here down to Uranus, but notice Eris is here now in a trine to the moon. That's a whole lot of fire. This has been building. So that was something happening from Wednesday night through to this morning, Thursday, the 19th. And it feels to me like there's intuition to help you move forward in your courage. And you're not going to back down. I don't think anybody's going to be backing down once they figure out what they really want. You have a clear path and you know which way to go and you want to go, right? Mercury has a little semi-square here. Now this, direct to Saturn. So again, now that you know what you want, and look at how the moon is moving towards Mercury, we're going to have that powwow to really, maybe there's some negotiation, but there's some action that needs to be taken in order to, and this is even though it's just one little, looks like one sextile, it looks to me like it's two, because I work with a wider orb than this program to the moon. So from the moon to Venus and Saturn, this is excellent. And then there's also, because of this sextile over here to Eris, so we have a double sextile going on here. See that little, a trine and two sextiles here, with Venus and Saturn up at the apex. So it's, again, relationships you can build foundations with, and the courage to do so because you both know what you want, or you all know what you want, because we're talking group consciousness when you're in Aquarius. Same thing with Pisces and Neptune. But Neptune and Pisces can be more nebulous, but it can be great for artistic groups that get together. The moon is squaring Neptune as well. No, wait, is it? Hold on. Yeah, it is. 26 to 23. Yeah, and that was happening. So here, no, actually, probably don't even really need to draw it in, but see this line here to the moon? Yeah. That could be that a dream came through, but you woke up and you couldn't capture it because it was kind of nebulous, or you got up and just hit the floor running, I have mornings like that every once in a while. I don't like it, but it happens. You wake up because you have to pee, and then it's 5:30, might as well stay up, but wait, what was that dream? Because there was something there, there was just something there. Yeah. So Pluto and the Sun are squaring Eris. So again, it's these issues of power and power structures that you want to build platforms with, realms of consciousness with, whether it's an actual physical thing, but with Capricorn it usually is. But it could just be that there's a lot of talking about, oh man, I realized I grew up in a narcissistic home. Oh man, I realized that boss I had was really dark, and now I'm realizing he really mirrored my dad. or my mom, or this coworker that was like my mom that treated me terribly. And then you start connecting the dots, and the dynamics of the relationship start coming through more, and you're tracking those patterns within that you need to heal for yourself. So that lets, there's no reason to blame that other person, because they were just mirroring their lack of consciousness onto you. And but you're aware, right? That's that Uranus and Taurus. So, okay, anything else for today, for Thursday? With the moon, I think we're clear there. Yeah. Except for it's moving towards that apex, that yod. And there it is today, Friday. The sun, the first day of Aquarius, the sun is in Aquarius at 12:30 in the morning, 0 degrees Aquarius. So, excellent. Now, I don't know which to talk about the most. So then the new moon's going to be in Aquarius too. That's coming through tomorrow, right there. So for Friday, I think the focus for Friday, remember, we still have the aspect of the architect. Now it's involving the moon and Mercury. We still have the yod all week. The sesquisquare to the south node is, that's happening. That's going to be that'll be for some time there, I think. And so that is, let's talk about that for a second. You want to be, on one level, for us personally, spiritually, we want to dig our heels in and be stubborn when we know from the wisdom of the past what could happen in the future. But on a political level, these could be cult-like people, and these could be dirty politicians who dig their heels in because they just want to hold on to the power of the past. And they're going to lose their grip. We've got tower moments coming through here, and judgments coming through here when Pluto rules the south node. And the Tower card in the tarot is also ruled by Mars and Uranus, so there's that too. But anyway, it used to be Mars, but then when we discovered Uranus, that rules the Tower. So I'd say they're both. But with Pluto here ruling Scorpio, I get the feeling of the Judgment card. Wow. Interesting. Okay. So the sun shining its light in Aquarius will be a month for scientific breakthroughs, a month for unique, original, new things coming through. We should be more tolerant of other people. And but then again, some people aren't tolerant, and those people will be revealed with all these other aspects, even more so. Things are going to flying out of people's mouths, and you might go, wait, what did you just say? Oh, no, really? And then maybe have a conversation about it. And they go, oh, man, I didn't know that was in there. That could happen to anybody. As long as you're willing to work through it and whatever the false beliefs are, especially when they're about other people or a whole group of people. Like, okay. But anyway, so with the sun, for the next month, that's, I think, probably what will be on the table the most, would be tolerance versus, bigotry, I suppose would be a word. Right? Enlightenment versus my way or the highway. Enlightenment versus I know everything is basically what they're saying down below, without letting you, without the awareness of saying, oh, I realize that was an arrogant thing that just flew out of my mouth, and I don't want to be that way. There's a difference, between self-confidence and arrogance, right? So anyway, for us personally, it's a month for breaking free. But let's just focus on the rest of this week, and because I'll be here for next week too, so no need to go into the whole month. But we are having a bit of a period where, if you notice, Pluto's not retrograde anymore. It's not out of the shade yet, but or the retro shade. Mercury's direct, Venus is direct, Saturn's direct, Neptune's direct, Jupiter's direct, Chiron's direct, Eris is direct. Uranus is the only planet that's still retrograde. Mars is direct. The nodes being retrograde mean 0, so don't even worry about that. But yeah, let's look at this. Let's look at the moon here. The moon's in configuration, so the moon and Mercury at 8 degrees together as a part of the aspect of the architect that's happening in double time. So the moon is really, so I'm thinking there's a couple ways that this will manifest. For us personally, all 8s are very powerful, and we have a double 8 here. So we have a double dose of power coming from our intuition. The moon represents our, I believe, ego. Not all astrologers read it that way, but I believe that it's the ego because it has to do with our filter that is coming from our emotional body, and what comes from our emotional body comes from in our soul, comes from what we've been through in the past. So we're always trying to keep that filter clean. And when we're at the degree of 8, we're moving towards something more powerful. We're moving towards the next level of whatever you're working on. You're towards the end of the first level, and you're moving towards the second. And then, because there's only 30 degrees in each sign, and they go from 0 to 29. So we're at that first, deacon. I don't know how to pronounce that. I hear it both ways. It's like, is it inconjunct or here's this one. Is it quincunx or inconjunct? Well, it's however you want to say it because everyone says it both ways. But anyway, this first level of manifesting and communicating with those who are like-minded, right? We have to focus here. So the way you want to go and the people you want to go with and the happiness and bliss you can create and the strength of having this other mirror over here to the past of your wisdom, where you can look to the past and like hindsight's always 20/20, thing. And from there, you know what you know and you're going to move forward. And the only thing throwing a little bit of a monkey wrench into it here is the well, there's quite a bit actually. The squares here to Jupiter and Chiron. So, for people who have not done their healing work and they're not working on their deepest wounding and their soul splits, their deepest separation from their spirits, they're going to have some trouble, I think, bumping up against outside authority. Because you have to have, and now I'm going to also be speaking to Pluto in this late degree of Capricorn. And right here with Venus and Saturn, because, Saturn rules Capricorn. Venus is ruling Taurus over here, and Libra, which we don't have anything in that sign right now. But anyway, back to what I was starting to say is that I get the sense that if you have your inner, well, I don't get the sense, I know that if you have your inner integrity intact and you're coming from your own inner authority, then any tension field that you may run into with people from the public, because the moon can be the public, and the moon wants to connect. And then Mercury has, the messenger coming through. If people are coming from their own emotional reaction and they're cold and hard and rigid, the downside of Capricorn, if they just want it to be their way and they're going to, climb the ladder right over you and leave you behind, even though you've been the one that's done half of the work or more, but they're just going to forget about you and move on. Well, you're still going to, it won't matter, because you're still going to have your own sense of self enough, your own inner authority to just break free and move forward to a whole new group of people, or on your own and you're just fine. Some people work better alone. I certainly do. Not everybody does, though. But that's the thing is, when you work alone, it's really nice to hang out with other people too. But anyway, with this square up to the moon and Mercury, I feel like there's going to be some news dumps here about some dirty politicians on Friday. It tends to happen a lot, doesn't it? And then, right. And then with those who, with Jupiter and Chiron in Aries, those who are just wanting to kick things back out there and blame other people for whatever they've done, or deflect. There's deflective energy here sometimes. If you don't have your sense of self intact and you let someone else be the authority, you're gonna have some trouble. Okay, so this is the day to really tap into who you are as a unique individual, and be just fine being different. Just fine being very unique and different. So now for Saturday, we have the Aquarius new moon, and it comes in Saturday the 21st, 12:53 p.m. Pacific, and we still have the the aspect of the architect here, the yacht, everything that I spoke to in the beginning. We have quite the weekly overview. But now, with the moon exactly conjunct with the sun, which is a new moon, always, at 1 degree. So wherever 1 degree Aquarius is in your chart, that's the area. So whichever house it lands in, or sometimes it could be on a hot point, or sometimes it can be on a, the cusp. Like if you have 1 degree, 32 minutes on the cusp, it can handle both houses. And each house is an area of your life. So if you know your chart, just put that in there, 1 degree, 32 minutes, and that'll be the area of life where you can accomplish the most and break free to the greatest degree, kind of rhymes, with your intention. Put your intentions out there. Now you can start, when we have a new moon, you can definitely start the week before and get your intentions, have your list of intentions going. And then when the new moon hits, that it's like planting a seed. And then you have to nurture it. And sometimes, especially if it's something you've been working on for a long time, sometimes by the full moon, so by the time the moon's full in Leo, 2 weeks later, you can really be basking in the happiness of, oh yeah, I remember I was working on that and it came through, right? Granted, it might have been something you've been working on for 5 years, but it's like, hey, it finally came through. So again, with the Aquarius energy, it's all that breaking free, your unique, original essence. Just let that come through. It can be freedom, it can be inspiration, it can be innovation, reinventing yourself. It can be maybe feeling a little rebellious. It can be something very just unusual and, I can't say unique enough. It'll help you wake up. It might be a little shocking, sometimes things that comes through dream time or meditation, but it'll help you and help you move forward, especially because notice how, Pluto's still there. We have to kind of put that in the mix, right? But look at this double trine down here to Mars, bringing in, and Mars down here at that apex. So Mars is in this twofold, let's just do it this way. Remember, Mars is in a really powerful, let's do it this way, because it's connecting here, and Mars is connecting up here, and Mars is connecting here. So Mars in Gemini, again, learning, teaching. It's going to be good for teachers. It's going to be good for communication. It'll be good for thinking outside the box with this combination here. It'll be good for processing information and getting the words. It's going to be really good for writers. Could be good for envisioning, even if you haven't started something, being inspired. And the only thing is it's a lot of mental energy, and we do have, a lot of air going on here. And there's air here still kicking up while Mars is in, because Mars is pretty powerful, kicking up the mental focus. But it's good that Mercury's in Capricorn. It's good that Pluto's in Capricorn. Uranus in the north, no, but Uranus is, that's kind of, it can be a lot of electric energy to handle. But anyway, what I mean to say is just do your best to stay very grounded. Take a lot of deep breaths and let go. Let go of the old, bring in the new, open up to more inspiration. Just stay grounded. Remember, as a human being, your only freedom lies in your body, right? Dream time, you go out and you connect with your spirit. In your meditation, you connect with your spirit. You can go out and do a little astral planing, but always you want to come right back. You don't want to be out there for too long. The path is to, at least this is my experience, and I'll just say this and then I'll be done, but to me the path is to be very grounded in your humanity while you're also connected to the cosmos, connected to the heavens, connected to, all the love, because it's always just about love. And you're not going to have an experience of love as a human out of your body. Your experience of love is going to come through your heart in your your humanity in your body, right? So that's how I look at it. So anyway, let me know how you guys look at things. I love hearing from you. I'm going to get this uploaded for you. Wish you big hugs, tons and tons of love, as always. And please take good care. Keep your masks on. We're still not through COVID. That's that Mars, Gemini, and Neptune going on. We still have to be careful. But, it might take quite some time to get through that. Okay. Bye, you guys.